Another week, another So You Want a Blank video. If you've been around for at least a little while, you'll know what's going on, but if you're new around here, you're likely a little bit confused. Who is this guy? Why does he talk so fast? Why is he named after some edible tuber? And dear God, why is there a picture of Hayabusa with an anime girl on it? Welcome. That is Yammie-chan, she is me, I am her, she's a gender bender version of myself because I've lost all grip on reality. I bought a Busa for the memes and I give away motorcycles. I am the one and only Yammie Noob, meme purveyor extraordinaire at your service. But today, we are talking about the MT09, Yamaha's middleweight triple cylinder unicycle. Regardless of how long you've been motorcycling, you've probably encountered one of these bikes out there in the wild because, well, they're pretty dang popular, and today we're gonna dive into why. In the usual So You Want a Blank style, we're gonna give you the history, evolution, and common problems, and then I will pass down my edict unto you declaring which one you should buy and why you should buy it, or if you shouldn't buy it. So stick around, let's do it. However, speaking of common problems though, have you ever trimmed your god dang pubes? My dude, look at yourself. If you got a forest down there, you need to get sorted out ASAP. That is not 2020 spec, that is like 1970 spec. Let's get it sorted. You can't get fully torqued with all that extra resistance, and 8 and 10 partners prefer a fully trimmed downstairs. Manscaped has you covered with their Lawnmower 3.0. It is the last ball shaver you'll ever need because just like an old Honda, nothing can kill it. Not to mention it's got a sky-high redline and ceramic blades to chop straight through even the coarsest pubes, but it will never nick or cut your stuff. It's very gentle, I use it myself. Click the link down below and pick yourself up a pair of the Perfect Package 3.0. It comes with all the optional extras. Got your crop preserver, which instantly halts the gooch juice at the source, the crop reviver spray to keep you fresh, and the travel bag to hold everything. Click that link below and use the code YAMMIE, all caps, to get yourself 20% off your order and free shipping. Thanks to Manscaped for supporting us. Go and show them some love. Click the link, code YAMMIE for 20%. It is the best, and it's why I have a Manscaped sticker on my Busa. Now let's get into the MT09. The MT09 was released in 2014, and what seems to be a recurring trend with Yamaha motorcycles from around that time, they don't have a whole lot of history behind them beyond the phaser lineup. They kind of just showed up. But there's a Wikipedia article, so sit yourself down and start taking notes. Professor Yam's about to preach the good word of Rossi. The MT09, or FZ09 in America for a while, because of course we had to be different and special and exclusive and unique, came out in what I'm going to call the year of the hyper naked. 2014 saw the release of bikes like the Super Duke R and the S1000R, which completely shattered the conventions for a road-going naked bike. Before, they were just down-tuned inline 4 race bikes or big parallel twins, but now manufacturers could basically do whatever they wanted to and get away with it. So instead of taking the cult favorite FZ1 and making it completely bananas, Yamaha did the next best thing and made a stellar, slower motorcycle, and they discontinued the FZ1 at the same time. That's pretty bold, Yamaha. Very bold. As a side note, the FZ1 really is a cult classic bike. I've never met an FZ1 owner who wasn't completely rabid, over-the-moon fan of it, even though it had a pre-2009 R1 engine which didn't have the signature cross-plane crank, made about 150 horsepower and 78.8 foot-pounds of torque with a half-fairing look and almost touring spec ergonomics, so the MT09 had some really big shoes to fill. According to Shun Miyazawa, the product manager for the MT09, Yamaha considered several different options for the engine, from the big parallel twins to yet another inline 4-cylinder to a V-twin like the SV650, but they went with the 847cc inline 3-cylinder power plant because it was the best solution for power, torque, and low weight. Obviously, come on, I mean, I could have told you that. I've been preaching the good word of the triple cylinder gospel for years because it just is that damn good. And no, I don't want to hear how it has none of the torque of a V-twin and none of the top end of an inline 4. Get out of here! That's wrong! The MT09 was designed to compete with the likes of the Triumph Street Triple and the MV Agusta Brutale 800, which was some pretty stiff competition, seeing as the Street Triple just had a major update and the Brutale 800 was, well, I mean, just look at it, handcrafted Italian goodness. Miyazawa was even quoted as saying that while the Street Triple was a street fighter, the MT09 was a roadster motard. Now, let's break that down. No, it's not a slur, don't worry about it, you can say that as much as you want. What does it mean to be a roadster? Well, simply put, it means a naked bike. It's for any general purpose daily rider, read versus 650. But what's interesting is the motard bit. For those of you who don't know what a motard is, it's actually a bit of French slang. It is synonymous with supermotos, or the idea of taking a dirt-oriented motorcycle and putting street-biased wheels and tires on them and riding them like a street bike, while usually cracking a massive nooner in flip-flops and a tank top. So, as supermoto-style naked bikes go, how did the MT09 do? Well, in 2014, the FZ09 made 115 horsepower and 65 foot-pounds of face-melting torque, and the throttle was like a light switch, so your front wheel never really touched the ground. Critics called it snatchy, but that is a polite way of saying the FC09 just wanted to rip your arms off all the time and was just not very good to ride. But other than that, people loved it. It was comfy, the ergonomics package was nice, and it handled a lot better than the FC07, which is really not saying much considering. It was a relatively tall seat height at 32.1 inches in weight and at featherweight 414 pounds. It was an absolute squid missile and power wheelie all over the place. Reviewers at the time lauded the 847cc triple, and they still do to this very day. It was also dirt cheap at $7,990, so basically anyone who wanted one could just go out and get it. The only problem with the cheap price tag was you get a dash that was, aside from the bar tachometer, is about as sophisticated as the one on the DRZ 400. In 2015, Yamaha released the Tracer 900, or FJ09 here in the States, as a sport touring version of the MT09 with a little fairing for wind protection, a bigger gas tank, and ABS. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the MT09 didn't even have ABS when it came out, because who uses ABS on a motard? The Tracer also had handguards, a center stand, 12-volt outlet, traction control, and switchable ride modes. While that sounds like quite the upgrade, it is worth noting that Yamaha's ride-by-wire systems are far from perfect, and even on the 2019 R1 that were given away for free on YammieNoob.co leave a little bit desired in stock form. Yamaha also took the FC09 platform and gave it the old neo-retro makeover in 2016 when they made the XSR 900. It's more or less the same bike with a little bit of cafe racer nods, a single round headlight, old school style seat and tail section, and a different dashboard which was round but just as basic as the one off the MT09. For the next few years, Yamaha let squids compete for Darwin Awards on the MT09 until in 2017 they halted the bloodshed by making the MT09 a little bit more tame. They gave it fully adjustable suspension, traction control, ABS, a slipper clutch, new LED lights, reworked the looks of it to that new Dark Side of Japan Bionicle looking headlight thing with the angry little bug eye LEDs. However, they kept the heart of the bike and that rowdy triple cylinder completely the same. It made the same power, made the same sound, and was just as wheelie happy as ever. But Yam, can I get one as my first bike? Please, Papa Yam, please, can you give me this as a first bike? Please, can I get it as my first bike? God, no. This is about the worst beginner bike that you could possibly start on. Between the seat height, the power, and the weight of this thing, it would render a noob into a hamburger. Now, I'm already seeing the comments. I started on FC09, and I'm fine. I do just fine on my MT09. I do real good, and I do wheelies everywhere with it. Okay, that's all good and well. It's still not a good idea to get one of these as your first bike. So let's assume that you're not a beginner and you want to get an MT09. What are some common issues you might encounter? Well, the MT09, like the MT07, is basically a bulletproof motor. I haven't seen reports of spontaneous engine grenading or electrical problems or anything really, and that includes the newer models. Because the MT09 is built on a bit of a budget, you can expect to see some less than stellar parts and build quality which might seem lacking, especially on newer models, with parts rattling loose over time or just wearing out, but you can be pretty confident in your purchase regardless of the year you buy. A word of warning though, and this is specific to the 2014 model year because the platform is new and untested, the throttle mapping for the ride-by-wire in both A and B modes is unbelievably herky-jerky. You can smooth it out a little bit with a tune, but like I said before, the Yamaha ride-by-wire system is far from perfect, and it is a really weird throttle setup on those early FC09s. How do I know? I used to own one. That's how. Okay, so if all the model years but the first are a safe bet, which one should I get, Papa Yams? I need your guidance and wisdom. Please shine upon me your light of knowledge and deliver me into the kingdom of dank nooners. Well, first of all, I'm not the best at wheelies. I can certainly do them. Here's a picture of me looking super cool on my desert sled doing a dank nooner, but I basically just chase them out for about 30 to 40 feet and then call it a day. I've never learned how to crack at a balance point or anything like that, so you should probably learn to squid from someone else. But because you asked so nicely, if I was gonna buy another MT09, I would go with a post-2017 model year. While I'm not the biggest fan of the Transformers aesthetic, I am a fan of standard ABS and traction control on this bike. Yeah, it does dilute the untamed feeling of the bike just a little bit, but it's worth it for the added safety. Having owned a Gen 1 FC09, I can say that it would be all too easy to accidentally yeet yourself into the great beyond thanks to that engine. Not to mention that the refinements of the wire-by-wire system are going to mean a smoother throttle response and a little bit more predictable power. The adjustable suspension is the cherry on top, but while the Gen 1 was okay at being able to set up the bike for you and your riding style, it really makes a big difference, even if you're not trying to extract every last drop of performance out of the bike, since it is pretty street-oriented. It's just nice to not have the suspension wobble mid-corner, which the FC09 was very prone to pogo stick mid-corner. Also, considering that the price isn't much more than the first gen, there's really not much of a point to getting an older model. Nowadays though, the MT09 competes with the likes of Z900 from Kawasaki, the new Triumph Triple 765, the Monster 821 and 797, the Suzuki Gixxis 750, the KTM 790 and 890 Dukes, with some other 1000cc naked bikes as well. The middleweight naked category is replete with some of the best examples of performance-oriented street motorcycles from just about every manufacturer, and honestly, they're some of the best bikes ever made. I mean, hell, even Harley-Davidson wants in with their 975cc Bronx. So the question is the MT09 still relevant? The answer is an emphatic yes. However, should you get the MT09 instead of one of these other more pulled together bikes? Well, that's up to you. Do you want something that feels like it was made with cutting edge technology, with all the rider aids and farkles that entail? Or do you want something that still has one foot in the past? Starting at about $9,000, you will get a bike that is cheaper than the competition with most of the same technology, even if it doesn't work as well, but still features this completely raw triple cylinder that makes it feel more playful than any of the other newer bikes. Unlike the MT07, which charges more than it's worth, the MT09 is actually very competitively priced. It makes a competitive amount of power, but still has that roadster motard ethos that makes it very unique. The MT09 is a very unique riding experience. If you've never ridden a triple cylinder engine before, it is a must. You will feel the ungodly amounts of torque it has down low. It's a super fun motorcycle to ride, and even though the suspension still feels a little weird and the throttle's a little wonky, it is worth it just for that engine, and that's mostly what I say about almost all of Yamaha's bikes. The MT07, MT09, and R1, and the Crossplane Inline 4, all of Yamaha's bikes make amazing power because of their power plants, and the engines are just that good. So my sweet little squid, this video is actually over, but lucky for you, click on this one right here. You can keep watching your sweet Papa Yam delivering you the motorcycle content you've come to know and love. Don't worry, I'll wait. I'll be here waiting for you. You're gonna click on that video.